Senate constitutes committee to harmonize input on Electoral Act amendment. FCTA workers dare Wike resume strike despite minister's sanction threat. Electricity distribution companies, consumers clash over federal government's plan to roll out free meters. And on the international scene, EU designates Iran's Revolutionary Guard as terrorist organization in historic policy shift. Hello, good evening and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Fatima Ahmed Musa and thank you so much for joining us. Now we'll begin with political matters. The Senate has constituted a 7-member ad hoc committee to harmonize and distill senators' input on the proposed amendment of Electoral Act as lawmakers intensify efforts to strengthen Nigeria's electoral framework ahead of 2027 general elections. The decision followed a 3-hour closed-door executive session held on Thursday, during which senators further scrutinized the Electoral Act, repeal and enactment bill currently before the National Assembly. Announcing the outcome of the session, Senate President Godswill Akpabio said the committee was set up to synthesize lawmakers' views and address outstanding concerns on the proposed amendment. He said the panel was mandated to contribute, galvanize and distill the opinion of senators on the bill. The committee is led by Ni Adegbomire, chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters. Other members of the committee are Adamu Alero, Aminu Tambuwal, Adams Oshomole, Danjuma Goji, Tony Nwe and Titus Zam. Akpabio added that the committee has a maximum of 3 days to conclude its assignment and submit its report to Senate by Tuesday. Now, workers of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, under the Joint Union Action Committee, JUAC, resumed their indefinite strike on Thursday, which they initially began on January 19th over unresolved welfare concerns. It was observed that only a few workers were present across FCTA secretariats, departments and agencies, a stark contrast to Wednesday's heavy turnout. The law attendance followed JUAC's directive for workers to remain at home. The strike resumption comes after JUAC filed an appeal against the National Industrial Court ruling of January 27th, which had instructed the workers to suspend the strike and adjourn the case to March 23rd. The union pursued the appeal through its lead counsel, Femi Falana-San. JUAC's Secretary Abdullahi Saleh informed workers in a circular on Wednesday that the strike will continue from Thursday due to the appeal. He urged the workers to stay at home and pray for the success of the strike, stressing that the struggle demands unity, discipline, and unwavering commitment. Now, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, has cautioned striking staff members of the FCT administration, asserting that the mere filing of a notice of appeal against a court ruling does not constitute an automatic stay of execution. While workers had returned to work on Wednesday, they got a notice from continuation of strike from their union, which premises its decision on the basis of an appeal filed on its behalf by its legal team. Justice E.D. Sublime of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria had on Tuesday mandated the industrial action initiated by the Joint Unions Action Committee, JUAC, be suspended immediately following a case instituted against the union by the FCT administration. Speaking on Thursday, Wike expressed disappointment over the report's result to litigation and strikes, suggesting that some elements within the workforce may be acting on political motives rather than genuine labor grievances. He noted that the administration has remained open to dialogue and has already met the majority of the workers' demand. Now, traffic and transportation challenges in Abuja are taking a toll on residents of the Federal Capital Territory. Delay movement is getting harder, and commuters say the strain is hitting their time, income, and well-being. Trust TV took to the street to hear directly from those affected.
Traffic congestion is now part of daily life in Abuja. From early morning to late evening, major roads stay clogged, especially during rush hours. Many workers say they leave home much earlier than before. Even then, they still arrive late because of long hours spent in traffic.
Like myself now, I drive my own car, but most of my brothers that use public transportation take more than half of their salary.
Beyond delays, transport costs have gone up. Commuters say fares change often and keep rising. For many families, transport now takes a big share of their monthly income.
The system is not even helping the masses. Let's just be realistic to ourselves. Because the transportation, somebody is earning low salary. He can't go and see his parents because of transportations. And if you look at it, governments are not even helping things. When you use public transportation, are you not in Abuja? Everybody is in Abuja now. Abuja is crowded with these are vehicles. 4 at the back, 2 at the front. People like me that are big. How did I manage? And I have to pay for 2 people. And if I look at my current situation of my budget, sometimes it's not easy. It's not easy. Some of us that will even go out on early time to go and work. When you hear the prices of the transportations, you have to squeeze yourself.
The CNG buses that we have, when you get there, it's filled up, people standing, and the private, again, the prices they give, mostly on Mondays, Wednesdays, rush hours, they shoot up their price and then making things difficult for passengers.
Residents want the government to act. They are asking for further fuel price cuts, saying this could reduce transport fares across the city. They also want more government-run buses on the road. According to them, too few public vehicles have left commuters at the mercy of private operators who charge high fares, especially during peak hours when demand is high. For many Abuja residents, moving from one part of the city to another have become a daily struggle that needs urgent attention. Safiat Advisor Inida, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the Kano State Commissioner for Information and Internal Affairs, Ibrahim Abdullahi Waya, has said it will be honorable for the Deputy Governor, Aminu Abdul Salam Gorzo, to resign his position if he can no longer align politically with Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf. Waya stated this while responding to questions on the Deputy Governor's reported decision to remain loyal to the Konkwasiya political movement led by Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, despite the governor's recent political realignment. The commissioner argued that political divergence at the highest level of government could undermine trust and effective governance, especially given the deputy governor's role as commissioner for higher education, he noted. He noted that governance required cohesion and shared ideology, warning that mistrust could arise if a senior official remained in government while pursuing a different political direction. The commissioner stressed that the decision ultimately rests with the deputy governor, acknowledging that remaining in office is a personal choice. The interim leadership of the new Nigeria's People Party, NNPP, in Kano State has condemned the call by Commissioner for Information and Internal Affairs, Ibrahim Waya, for the resignation of the Kano State Deputy Governor, Aminu Abdulsalam Gwarzo, who refused to defect to the APC with Governor Abubakar Yusuf. The party, through its publicity secretary, Ibrahim Karai, restated that the deputy governor remains a pivotal figure in the state's governance structure. The NNPP insisted that since Gwarzo was elected in a joint ticket with the governor, the deputy governor is constitutionally entitled to continue discharging his duties. The party stressed that the state's executive council, being a constitutional body, should not be entangled in party politics. The publicity secretary further highlighted the deputy governor's significant contributions to the administration's successes, reminding the commissioner that he was conspicuously absent during the struggles that birthed the current administration. Former Ekiti State Governor Dr. Kayode Fayemi has denied reports claiming that he held a closed-door meeting with former Kano State Governor Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso at his Abuja residence. Fayemi, in the immediate past chairman of the Nigeria's Governors Forum, dismissed the report in a statement issued by the head of his media office, Ahmed Sajo, on Thursday, describing the claim as false and urging the public to disregard it. The report, which circulated on X, formerly Twitter, on Wednesday, was shared by several social media handles alongside an old video clip showing Fayemi greeting Kwankwaso at his residence. According to the statement, the former Ekiti State Governor had met Kwankwaso also once in the past year and not in any private political setting. Fayemi also cautioned against attempts by political actors to attach partisans' interpretations to private relationships, noting that many of his friends and associates are either not involved in partisan politics or belong to different political persuasions. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has granted permission to a former governor of Kogi State, Alhaji Yahaya Bello, to travel to Saudi Arabia to perform the 2026 Lesser Hajj. Justice Emeka Nwete on Thursday ordered the temporary release of Bello's international passport, which had been in the custody of the court, to enable him undertake the religious exercise. Bello is currently standing trial before the court over alleged misappropriation of funds in a case instituted against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The EFCC is prosecuting the former governor over alleged monetary laundering to the tune of 80.2 billion naira allegations, which Bello denied when he was arraigned before the court. The former governor, in an application dated January 20 and supported by a 24-paragraph affidavit disposed by himself, sought the court's permission to travel to Saudi Arabia for supplications. In a short ruling, Justice Nwete granted the application for the release of Bello's international passport, which was deposited with the registrar of the court. Consequently, the court approved the release of the passport from March 13, 2026 for a period of 10 days and adjourned proceedings till Friday, January 30th for the continuation of the examination of the 7th prosecution witness. Now, the Senate on Thursday inaugurated an ad hoc committee to investigate the contract and execution of railway projects across the country. This follows fresh concern over the deteriorating state of operations on key roads. The report.
The move followed a point of order raised by Senator Abdul Ningi, representing PDP Bauchi Central, under Order 42, drawing attention to what he described as the tragic situation affecting the Kano-Kaduna rail line. Ningi told the chamber that the frequency of train services on the route had dropped drastically to 1 trip per day, while travel time for cargo had increased from about 1 hour 30 minutes to nearly 3 hours.
Investigation told me when they started commuting, they were commuting 10,000 passengers in a day. Last 2 weeks, Mr. President, I visited Kaduna like I used to visit Kaduna with the railway, and what I found and discovered was simply a tragic Nigerian story. I ventured into the leader of the railway, that is the manager, and he rendered these statistics to me. First, he told me they were committing 10,000 passengers, and because of the terrible nature of the Kaduna Abuja road, most people come from Kaduna and walk and travel back to Kaduna.
Corroborating the concerns, Senator Adamu Eleru of APC Kebbi Central said the reduction in trips was partly due to extensive damage to rail infrastructure caused by bandit attacks.
It is true that the number of trips has dropped drastically from 5 to only 1. And this is simply because the bandits have damaged the truck. And they have vandalized the trucks, and it takes a lot of time and resources. And these resources are not available. As you rightly know, even contractors that have finished their jobs, they are now finding it difficult to get paid. So the same problem is now extending to the services like Nigerian Railway Corporation.
In his remarks, Senate President Godswill Akpabio challenged the suggestion that funding was the main constraint. Instead, he argued that the core issue lay in the age and quality of the rail infrastructure, describing some sections as substandard. He said the situation warranted a comprehensive legislative investigation into how railway contracts were awarded and implemented.
Pointed out, I don't even think you were in charge at that time. He pointed out that they were conveying about 10,000 people a day, and the people paid. So where did the money go to? And then we also borrowed billions and billions to Putin from China. Why would they sell us second-hand rail coaches? What about the rail tracks? Why second-hand? So we have a responsibility as a Senate, founded in the Nigerian Constitution, to ask questions, to look into these things, and to correct them. We have always said that we're a corrective parliament.
The investigation is expected to cover project design, funding, execution standards, and maintenance structures.
Now, lawmakers in the House of Representatives have given accelerated consideration to the 2026 appropriation bill, while also addressing pressing national issues ranging from poverty and hunger to alleged discrimination in public institutions. The House also held a validatory session in honor of its retiring clerk. The report.
At the Thursday's plenary, the House of Representatives considered the appropriation bill totaling 58.47 trillion naira presented by the House Leader Honorable Julius Ihombere. The bill passed second reading and was subsequently referred to the House Committee on Appropriation for further legislative action.
So I invite you, my dear colleagues, to support this budget as presented and to keep hope alive and recommit that we have an opportunity to join the government, we are part of the government, to join the executive in this budget of consolidation, renewed resilience, and shared prosperity.
Escalating poverty. House advocates agricultural recovery in Northeast. Meanwhile, The House adopted several matters of urgent public importance, one of the motion titled Urgent Need to Address the Escalating Poverty and Hunger in Nigeria, with special focus on agricultural recovery in the Northeast, was moved by Honorable Khadijat Bukar. The motion was referred to the committees on the Northeast Development Commission and Agricultural Production and Services.
Resolves to urge the federal government, in line with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 99 as amended, to strengthen and harmonize ongoing national poverty reduction, food security and post-conflict agricultural recovery initiatives with deliberate focus on agrarian communities affected by insecurity. Mandate the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, in collaboration with relevant MDA.
Danzaria Yaya's retirement. House holds valedictory sitting in honor of retiring clerk. Earlier in the section, the House held a valedictory sitting in honor of the retiring clerk of the House, Dr. Danzaria Yaya. In a departure address read by the Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, Dr. Yaya was commended for his professionalism, integrity, and years of dedicated service to the legislature.
Is upheld by procedure, order, records, and professional administration. The office of the clerk stands at the heart of this responsibility. It provides continuity beyond electoral cycles, safeguards the legitimacy of parliamentary decisions, and ensures that debate, disagreement, and consensus all occur within lawful bounds.
Lawmakers across party lines paid glowing tributes, describing the clerk as humble, diligent, unbiased, and deeply knowledgeable in parliamentary procedures.
But we are happy that he served meritoriously, satisfactorily, efficiently well. We say so, Mr. Speaker, because we work with him closely, and we monitored his dedication. We monitored his attention to details. His humility was infectious. All assignment given to him was with diligence. We're going to miss you within the 4 walls of this chamber.
This house still needs you. This nation needs you. And we will continue to do everything possible to draw on your experience, on your knowledge, on your dedication, on your patriotism. I've never seen you look at left, right, and say, oh, this man is from my state, is from the north, is from the south. That's the kind of Nigerian we need. Whatever it is that have built this sense of nation in you, continue to keep it growing. May God bless you.
In his closing remarks, Speaker Abbas aligned with views of members, wishing Dr. Yaya successes in his future endeavors. Plenary was thereafter adjourned to Tuesday, February 17, 2026, following a motion moved by the House Leader.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, discuss consumers clash over FG plan to roll out free electricity meters. This plus more will return. Just stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is News Hour on Trust TV. In case you missed it, here's a recap of our top stories again. We told you that Senate constitutes committee on to harmonize inputs on Electoral Act's amendment. And FCTA workers dare Wiki resume strike despite minister's sanction threat. Now move on to more stories. Electricity distribution companies known as DISCOs are resisting the federal government's plan to roll out free smart meters nationwide. While government says the move will end estimated billing, operators argue it could destabilize the power market. So why are DISCOs pushing back, and who really pays the price? Trust TV's Noel Sampson reports.
The federal government, with the World Bank support, has launched a free smart meter program aimed at ending estimated billing, a long-standing complaint among electricity users. But DISCO say the plan raises serious concerns. They argue that buying and installing smart meters come at a huge cost. One they say cannot be absorbed without tariff adjustment. According to them, someone must pay, and that cost may still return to consumers indirectly. Operators also say the free meter announcement has slowed down the existing meter set provider scheme, which consumers pay upfront and get refund through energy credits over time. Energy expert body FADIPA explains why DISCOs believe their concerns are valid and where the financial burden may fall.
DISCOs have been made to collect loan, to buy meters, and to fix as they go. There have been investors. If you know the story behind the World Bank funding of these meters, it will be a different conversation entirely. There have been investors who took facilities or used their own facilities to purchase meters in readiness for the closing of the gap in metering infrastructure in this country. Federal government is now coming to say we are providing free meters. Who is going to pay for the one they have put in their store? Who? Because no customer will be willing to go and pay for a meter when there is one free. It doesn't make sense to anybody. Even the rich will go for the free one.
Dr. Abubakar Atiku Tambawal, former managing director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria and board member of AEDC, also speaks on the policy and how distribution companies view the rollout.
As far as AEDC is concerned, where I'm a board member, we have never expressed dissatisfaction with this pre-metering scheme. And according to the spokesman of the Association for Distribution Companies, Chief Odutan, if I can remember yesterday in our daybreak interview with the same Daily Trust, he has made it clear that the distribution companies welcome the pre-metering scheme of the federal government. If federal government is just providing the cost of the meter without cost of installation, it is something to be considered who bears the cost of installation. To me, I think it should be all-encompassing.
Many consumers support the government's position, saying accurate billing cannot wait, but some worry they may still bear the cost if the dispute between regulators and power firms continues.
It shows that the government is also trying to help the citizens from their own side, in their own way. DISCO, on the other hand, they bought their meter with their money and they need to sell it to make their money back. So I don't know. The fight is between DISCO and the government.
If they're going to give us a free meter and talking about their own loss, let me tell you, deal with their business people. They don't care how they do it. But because government is not in charge of their business, government is not monitoring their business, they can do and not do to achieve their loss. But what government did give us free meter, this deal will be done for the day one, not now.
It's okay, they should give us the free meter. Me, I will need one because we share one. In my compound, we are 4 in number and we share 1 meter. It's giving me big problem. Sometimes the meter will finish, my neighbor will don't have money to recharge, and me, I feel I can afford 1,000. My neighbor will not afford 1,000, and it takes time for them to provide the money, and we end up being on without lights, and there will be light in the compound, no light in my compound because we cannot afford the meter. So please, it's good for federal government to share meter to everyone to have their own meter.
Despite objections from operators, the federal government insists that meters will be delivered at no direct cost to consumers. Authorities warn that any DISCO or installer demanding payment for the meters risks prosecution. For now, Nigerians watch closely cuts between policy promises and power sector realities, hoping fair and transparent billing finally becomes standard. Well, Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Public concern is mounting over the attitude of some hospitals authorities who allegedly insist on police reports before attending to accident victims. Citizens say attending to accident victims and gunshot victims in need of urgent medical care. Citizens say the practice has led to unnecessary delays and could cost lives. Our correspondent reports that while opinions differ on the solution, many agree that saving lives should come first.
Scenes from several public hospitals show worried relatives and emergency cases waiting anxiously for medical attention. At the center of the controversy is the requirement by some hospital officials that accident or gunshot victims must present a police report before receiving treatment. Many citizens have described the practice as insensitive, arguing that emergency demand immediate medical response, not paperwork. One resident interviewed said hospitals should not be asking for police reports in critical situations. Others suggested that if the government insists on police reports, then police output should be stationed within public hospitals to avoid delays.
The issue of somebody having an accident or badly injured and taken to the hospital, and the hospital will say the person should bring police report, is so alarming and it has caused a lot of deaths. So I am suggesting, urging the government to, at least in every police post, there should be a primary health care that will cushion this issue. If it is not possible for them, they should treat the patient first.
The issue of police report, it has been a problem to a lot of people in this country, particularly like what is happening in secondary schools now. That if a person or a teacher or anybody that has an injury and he or she will be rushed to the hospital, but the hospital will still asking that police report should be brought before the child or that person will be treated, and that thing has killed a lot of people. This school has been a victim. Last 2 years, what happened here that a teacher was stabbed, and we rushed that teacher to Federal Medical Center, and looking at the amount of blood that was gushing out of him, and they refused to pick him and treat him, that we don't have a police report. And before we could rush to go and get that report, he gave up the ghost.
Some residents are calling on the government to establish proper primary health care centers near police stations so victims can receive immediate care, emphasizing that hospitals must treat patients first and worry about police documentation later.
Depending of the case, you understand, based on my understanding, depending of the case, because some case, those, let's say, those people that in charge of treating the case, they are afraid because of so many things that already occurred. So they get afraid. Maybe if they fall into treatment and at the end of the day, the person may end up not making up.
When something like accident happen like this, it's between life and death. Depends how the incidents happen. So what I have to say is that it's better they treat the patient before the police arrive.
A legal practitioner, Barrister Isa Buba, who says the law already addresses this issue, explained that victims of accidents or violent incident must be treated first before any police report is requested. He warned that failure by medical personnel to provide urgent care could attract punishment under existing laws.
The law has been there since 2017. Nigeria has enacted a law which is called Compulsory Treatment and Care of Persons with Gunshot Act 2017. It's provided solutions to all these kind of problems, passive problems, because it's a misconception from the hospital and general public thinking that is the requirement of the law. That has never been the requirement of the law. The law is that once a person had an accident or sustained a serious injury and is rushed to the hospital, it is the hospital managements are duty bound to receive and admit the patient and then commence medical treatment on the patient, and then they should report the incident to the nearest police station.
The debate continues as citizens call on the government and hospital authorities to clarify existing regulations and ensure that emergency medical care is never delayed by administrative procedures.
Now, troops of Operation Hadinke have recorded major successes against terrorists in the northeast, following coordinated dawn operation that led to the neutralization of several insurgents and the recovery of assorted weapons. In a statement issued on Wednesday by the Media Information Officer of the Joint Task Force, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, troops of Sector 1 launched a surprise night dawn operation on 28 January 2026 at Buladalo. During the encounter, the troops neutralized more than 12 terrorists, forcing others to flee in disarray. The operation also led to recovery of 4 AK-47 rifles, 1 PKT anti-aircraft gun, 1 rocket-propelled gun, and 1 multiple grenade launcher. In a separate but related operation at the Kano terrorist camp, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba said Sector 1 troops further degraded insurgent capabilities by neutralizing 6 more terrorists, destroying their life support structures, and recovering a large cache of PKT anti-aircraft ammunition. Meanwhile, troops of Sector 2 at Sabongari also came under attack by ISWAP fighters who were reportedly supported by multiple armed drones in the early hours of 29 January, leading to the death of some soldiers and members of the Civilian Joint Task Force. The Nigerian Army on Wednesday warned its officers and personnel against the sales of arms and ammunition, stressing that the service would deal decisively with anyone found engaging in such act. The Chief of Civil Military Affairs at the Army Headquarters, Major General M.A. Itsu Indagi, issued the warning during a sensitization workshop on human rights and professional conduct organized for troops of the 17th Brigade and Sector 2 Joint Task Force Northwest under Operation Fansanyama. In Kaduna State, Trust TV's Abdullah Yamadi reports.
The Chief of Civil Military Affairs also decried the growing abuse of drugs and psychoactive substances among some security personnel, warning that such behavior has troubling effects and could further worsen the country's security situation. He stated that the Nigerian Army has zero tolerance for such misconduct and will be ruthless in dealing with erring personnel.
Be warned that the Nigerian Army will be ruthless in dealing with anyone who engages in the unwholesome acts of pilferage and sale of arms and ammunition. It is also important to note that the indulgence of some personnel in the abuse of drugs and psychoactive substances is not lost on the authorities of the Nigerian Army. The service has zero tolerance for this indulgence and will likewise be ruthless in dealing with erring personnel.
Chief of Civil Military Affairs Major General Indagi commended the troops for their resilience, doggedness and determination in the fight against banditry and terrorism. He explained that the battle is particularly complex as it comes with the risk of collateral damage, given that terrorists and bandits often mingle with innocent civilians whom the troops have sworn to protect. He noted that identifying criminals within civilian populations requires caution, courage, and strict adherence to the law and global best practices during operations. Earlier, the commander of the 17th Brigade, Brigadier General McGarvey Ibrahim, advised officers to seek clarifications on issues related to conduct in the field, stressing that ignorance is not an excuse under the law.
Our troops that are here, both officers and soldiers, to take advantage of this workshop to clear all doubts in respect of their conduct when they are out there in the field. I hope I'm loud and clear. Yes, sir. Am I loud and clear? Yes, sir.
He noted that the Nigerian Army is involved in multiple operations across the country, making it necessary to continuously remind troops of expected standards of behavior and professionalism. The workshop held at the Brigade Officers' Mess Natsinta Barracks in Kaduna attracted senior officers from Army headquarters, both serving and retired, as well as resource persons from the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Kaduna.
Now, troops of Sector 7 Operation Safe Haven, OPSH, in collaboration with the Zango Kataf Police Area Command, Civilian Joint Task Force, CJTF, forest guards and local hunters have rescued 8 kidnapped victims at Badaru Kasa Forest in Kauru local government area of Kaduna State. A security source told the news agency of Nigeria NAN that the operation followed actionable intelligence of the kidnappers' hideout. The source said the combined team mobilized to the area on Wednesday and made contact with the criminals, forcing them to abandon the victims and flee into the surrounding bushes. Those rescued include Rashida Musa, 19, Hassan Hafsat Nuhu, Zakari Saleh, 52, Hasia Yahaya, 13, Ahmed Yahaya, 14, Ibrahim Saiba, 11, Salma Yahaya, 14, and Sofan Idris, 18. The source added that follow-up exploitation and pursuit of the fleeing suspect were ongoing to apprehend those responsible and dismantle the criminal network. Now, lawyers under the banner of the Concerned Lawyers for Probity and Justice on Thursday staged a protest at the Federal Ministry of Finance in Abuja in support of indigenous contractors seeking payment for completed capital projects. The lawyers, joined by members of the Enough is Enough movement and the All Indigenous Contractors Association of Nigeria, said the contractors are owed an estimated 4 trillion for capital projects already executed for government agencies. The protest followed a series of demonstrations by contractors in recent weeks over outstanding payments, some of which disrupted activities at the ministry's headquarters. Speaking during the protest, the lawyers called for urgent action on the contractor's claim and demanded immediate payment. They said that although some payments were made after the earlier protest in December 2025, many contractors with verified claims were yet to receive full settlement. In a statement issued after the protest and signed by Precious Oko, the group said delays in payment had placed contractors and their families under severe financial pressure. You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. We'll be back shortly. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Governor Obasani of Kaduna State has announced plans to construct what will be Nigeria's largest interstate bus terminal in terms of both size and infrastructure. Trust TV's Bello Musa completes this report.
At the groundbreaking ceremony, Governor Obasani said the terminal will occupy 20 hectares along the eastern bypass in Chukul local government area. The ultra-modern facility will operate as a dual terminal, accommodating over 5,000 vehicles, supported by intelligent traffic management systems and advanced surveillance technology.
This project reflects a deliberate policy choice to invest in modern, well-planned transport facilities that support economic activity, enhance safety, and meet the growing needs of our state. This terminal is conceived as a statement of modern governance, orderly, inclusive, efficient, and forward-looking.
The governor revealed the terminal will host refueling stations for petrol diesel, and compressed natural gas (CNG), positioning Kaduna State as a leader in sustainable transport innovation. He also described the project as a major economic catalyst, noting that investment in modern mobility infrastructure addresses structural vulnerabilities that often fuel crime and instability, reinforcing peace and security across Kaduna State and the wider Northwest region.
A hotel within the complex will cater to travelers, drivers, and visitors, offering comfort, rest, and convenience. This is not merely infrastructure of concrete and steel. It is a fully integrated mobility ecosystem, safe, efficient, transparent, and future-ready.
Obasani recalled that Kaduna State deployed 100 free CNG buses since mid-last year, transporting over 1.4 million passengers and 7 commuters, almost 1.5 billion naira in transport costs. Traditional leaders, NURTW, NATO, and civil society representatives at the ceremony commended the governor for the project, highlighting its potential to boost the state's economy.
Your Excellency, when you are a senator, there was a stadium you decide to do it. They say nothing will happen. But today, this environment called Millennium City, you are now developing it. That all and sundry will come to this place and stay. So you are
the groundbreaking for the construction of Kaduna State ultra-modern bus terminal for interstate mass transit Millennium City, Chukun local government, Kaduna State.
The governor also promised that by March 2026, his administration will begin the Kaduna Light Rail project, featuring a 30-kilometer red line from Rigachikun to Sabantasha and 20-kilometer yellow line from Millennium City to Rigasa. He said the transformative project will redefine urban mobility and ease pressure on the state's road networks.
Now in business, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission has opened 50 oil and gas blocks across 5 sedimentary basins for bidding and exploration in the 2025 licensing round, warning that only technically competent and financially strong firms will be allowed to scale through the process. The Commission said the exercise is designed to eliminate speculative participation and reposition Nigeria's upstream sector as a transparent, rules-based destination for long-term investment. The chief executive of the NUPRC, Orishe Yemiwa Eisan, made this known on Wednesday during the 2025 licensing round pre-bidding webinar, where the regulatory outlined the framework, evaluation criteria, and commercial terms guiding the bid process. Eisan said the licensing round should be viewed as a strategic intervention to grow reserves, improve production, and strengthen Nigeria's energy security in a rapidly evolving global energy landscape. She disclosed that the 50 oil and gas blocks on offer are spread across 5 of Nigeria's 7 sedimentary basins, giving investors access to both frontier and mature terrains. Now away from Nigeria, the European Union has officially designated Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IGRC, as a terrorist organization, a decision announced on Thursday after a meeting of EU foreign ministers in Brussels. The move marks one of the most significant shifts in EU policy towards Tehran in recent years, reflecting growing international condemnation of the IRGC's role in suppressing protests and its regional activities. EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas described the action as a decisive step, saying repression cannot go unanswered and that any regime responsible for killing thousands of its own people undermines its own legitimacy. The designation places the IRGC on the same terrorist list as groups such as Al-Qaeda, Hamas, and ISIS, a symbolic but powerful condemnation from the bloc. In addition, the IRGC itself, UAE ministers added 15 Iranian officials and 6 organizations to the bloc's sanction list for their alleged involvement in serious human rights violations and digital repression, according to EU diplomats. The decision has drawn sharp reactions, with Iranian authorities condemned the move and Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi accusing the EU of fanning the flames of regional tensions and aligning with external pressures rather than seeking peace. Now up next is sports with Adeni Ajishafe.
The National Basketball Association (NBA) is planning a major overhaul that could reshape the future of basketball development in Africa through the Basketball African League (BAL) in 2027. The NBA is planning to introduce a 12-team league with a focus on enhancing African basketball competitiveness and investors. The new structure will feature 12 permanent teams, with each franchise required to pay $50 million entry fee and operate in a world-class arena. NBA intends it as a way to select only the best teams, ensuring high-quality matchups every week. The NBA has set its sight on cities such as Nairobi, Kenya, Lagos, Nigeria, Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, Dakar in Senegal, Cairo, Egypt, Johannesburg, South Africa, Rabat or Casablanca in Morocco, and Kigali in Rwanda as potential homes for the franchises. The Basketball African League (BAL) launched in 2020, divided into 3 conferences: Kalahari, Sahara, and Nile, with 12 teams competing in each. After the initial conference games, the top 8 teams face off in the final 8, where the tournament champion is decided. While the competition has already generated over $250 million since its inception, the NBA believes restructuring will further boost the league's appeal, with earnings projected to reach $5.4 billion by 2034. And still in sport, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) has dismissed an appeal filed by the Royal Moroccan Football Federation seeking to overturn the outcome of 2025 Africa Cup of Nations final to strip Senegal of the Condenser title. CAF confirmed that its appeal committee found no legal or regulatory ground to annul the result of the final match, thereby reaffirming Senegal as the rightful winner of AFCON 2025. Morocco has submitted a formal protest following the dramatic and controversial final held at the Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium. Morocco cited alleged referee errors, particularly during a disputed penalty decision that led to Senegal's temporary walk-off from the pitch for 17 minutes. CAF said a comprehensive review conducted involving match report, video evidence, and written submission from all parties confirmed Senegal as the undisputed AFCON 2025 champions. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
And with that, we have come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to watch and catch us across all our social media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news. I'm Fatima Ahmed Musa. From me and the crew, thanks for watching.